My name is Doug Holder, and I'm here with my friend and accomplished woman, Jenny Hudson. All right, and Jenny is founder of Merrimack Media, and it's a new venture that's very successful, and she'll be talking about that lately. She ran a literary magazine. I don't know if it's still around, Xenology?
Xenology. Xenology is still there, but I'm going to be taking it down because I don't have time to do Xenology
Well,
anymore.
keep the archives up because people like that.
I suppose.
Yeah, people like that. She's a lecturer at Endicott College. She's a graphic artist, novelist, bagel bard, right?
Yeah.
Publicist, Renaissance woman in many ways, right?
I don't do math.
Okay, all right. But, you know, you do a lot. Now, tell me, Jenny, where did you get where did the idea spring from to start Merrimack Writers?
Well,
Merrimack Media, I should say.
Merrimack Media. Okay, well, about 5 years ago, I decided I was going to try and publish a novel I'd been working on, and I had an agent for 6 weeks. And then he threw me back to the wolves and said that he wanted someone who had been published before, and I said, "Oh, please take me." And he said, "No, I'm not taking you." And so that was the end of me. And being a graphic designer, I started looking around for places to publish.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at Lulu, I looked at Blurb. I thought they were expensive. I found CreateSpace on Amazon, so I figured out how to...
CreateSpaces, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so...
I was thinking of ISSU, that thing, that's expensive too, though, I think.
Oh, I don't know
yeah,
that
okay,
one.
okay, go ahead.
So I published a book through CreateSpace, and you know, I figured out how to do it, and it came in an envelope. My proof came, and I opened up the envelope, and I took it out, and I was speechless. I couldn't even form any words, so I walked over to a friend's house, and I was holding the book, and I knocked on her door, and I held it up, and I said, "Look!" And I didn't even say it, I just pointed, and it was a real powerful experience. So when my second novel was done, I played around a little bit trying to get an agent, but I wasn't real serious about it because I knew I could self-publish it, which I did, and then I had a novella, and I just self-published that one, period. So unfortunately, I haven't put much effort into marketing my own books, but I did start marketing and publishing other people's books. And so over time, I stopped publishing at CreateSpace because I found a source that has better distribution, and the books they get distributed everywhere, and I help authors prepare and publish and distribute.
So what background are these authors coming out? Are they novices? Are they experienced people? I mean, what?
Well, I brought a bunch of books here, and
yeah.
You know, this is a guy, this is a business book. He took it out of his business blog.
Fulfilling the potential of your business.
Yes, and then he's dropping everything all over the place. And he's from the North Shore. His name's Ian Smith. He's a management consultant, and this actually came out of his blog, but he's published a book, you know, through a publisher before. So, he pretty much knew what he was doing. I've got this guy, Old Tales of the Maine Woods, and this is the second book he published. The first one was through Down East. Okay. And this guy's like a poster boy for self-publishing. I'll talk more about him later. This man, Mark Alter, this is Sex with a Married Woman, A Man's Guide to Loving His Wife. Okay,
much needed.
Yeah, it's a great book, and he's a Newton psychotherapist, and this is the fourth book he's published. 3 of them were through major publishers.
Oh, okay.
So, and I have more books, you know, that I'll show you too. This is a book, this is this man's first book. He just came out with the first Black Tycoon, and it's really very engaging and it's fun. So, you know, I have the whole spectrum. I have a wide range of
It's interesting, you have a blurb up front on the front cover?
Yeah.
Now, why'd you do that? Just out of interest. I
Why
mean,
not?
usually they're on the back.
Well, the front and back, I mean, sometimes you
Yeah,
see them
yeah.
on the front. We did it here too.
Oh, okay, that's right, you're right.
Yeah.
It just seemed more prominent there. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it is prominent because the guy wrote a really long one.
Yeah, okay. All right, so these aren't just, you know, some, you know, some person who just, these people with interesting backgrounds and skills. Do you, now I was gonna ask you, you know, there were many services out there. There's iUniverse, there's what other things like
Ex
that?
Libris.
Ex Libris. So why wouldn't, let's say I want to do a book, why wouldn't I just go to them? I mean, they've been in business longer than you, and they have more resources at their disposal, don't they? But
Not really.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're bigger, but they have more volume, but, you know, we have a whole production engine where people get their books designed and published just like there, and I don't think they promote people's books. And when you publish at iUniverse, they do not, at least, well, they might now, but I did know someone who published through iUniverse, and she had a devil of a time getting her book onto Amazon. So they might do it now, but this was 3 or 4 years ago, and I don't really know for sure if they're doing it or not, so I wouldn't want to say. But their distribution isn't the same.
And they can't give the personal attention, obviously.
No.
Right.
No, I
So
don't.
so what do you actually sit down with people here? And, right.
Well, I can because a lot of these authors are local, but I can also do people who are not local, and with the use of Skype or Google Hangout,
Mm-hmm.
I can do you know, a one-to-one conversation. And I mean, for me, it's a huge kick to get to know the authors, because I get to know people on a level that is sort of inside, you know, and I get to know their thoughts. I get to know what, you know, their aspirations are, and help make that happen,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cool.
Good. Good. Tell me about your background as a graphic artist and writer. You have an extensive background as a graphic artist, right?
Right. Yeah, I've been a graphic designer for years, with sort of going back and forth, being an art teacher and a graphic designer. And
Did you work for any major firms, or you were mostly freelance? Or?
well, I've worked for universities a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
The last job I had was at the University of Wisconsin, and I worked there as a web designer and a graphic designer,
Okay.
which was really fun. And but I missed Boston,
Yeah. So you came back.
so I came back.
How long ago was that?
I came back in 2002.
Why did you miss Boston? You from here originally?
Well, I'd lived here for 28 years before I moved
Oh,
out there.
okay.
so-
Okay. All right. All right.
And I mean, Madison, Wisconsin is a very nice place, but it's not Boston to me.
Oh no,
So,
no,
yeah.
it's probably not. Oh, very nice up there.
So-
In your promo, you emphasize the mom and pop. That's a recurrent theme.
Right.
Tell me about the mom and pop.
Well, I think my business is like a mom and pop store, you know.
Yeah.
Where I try to give people a lot of attention, you know. I answer emails.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
answer
always
pho-
nice.
I answer phone calls, I talk to them. You
Your
know.
actual human voice, right?
Yeah, and you know, I'll meet with them and help them. So,
Uh-huh. That's a great thing.
right. In fact, you know, this guy, his book is just coming out right now. Phil Clendenning. He's a Russian scholar, and so he was putting this book together about his time in the Soviet Union when it collapsed.
Okay.
And so it's a pretty interesting memoir, but he didn't have a good picture of himself, so, you know, he just came over and I took my camera downstairs and shot
Yeah.
some pictures of him. And
That's a nice picture.
Yeah, he really loves the pictures, so I have this picture of him. And I mean, you know, you're at iUniverse, you can't do that for people, you know.
Right.
so, yeah.
You just got to send them some little JPEG. Now, you know, you're also very ambitious. I think, like me, I think you want to create a community of writers, and you don't have to be publishing with you to be part of this community, but you're going to be offering seminars and
Right.
things of that nature. And you charge admission, but So, I mean, are you going after sort of like the Grub Street kind of thing, or?
Well, there's two parts to it.
Grub Street doesn't publish. Oh, they publish I don't know.
No, they don't help people publish.
Right.
They get you ready for publishing.
Yeah.
And in one sense, I'm doing something. I have a meetup group. It's called the Write, Publish, and Promote Network. There's over 100 people in it right now, and there's different events that we've been doing, but the biggest, most consistent one has been the Writers' Table, which is a monthly critique group, and it's free. Authors can come and work with an editor and get their work critiqued. And
what editors do you have?
well, right now I'm using Jennifer Powell, who's a local editor. She's really excellent, and she helps with book doctoring.
Did she write for the Herald? Or?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
she
right.
did. And so she's been great. And so what we're doing is we do some online, we do some Google Hangouts, and so because geography is a problem, so that's and that's free. And although eventually it might not be, because Jennifer should get paid for this. So
so she's investing for the startup with the helps of
right.
Right.
But that's a really cool thing that people can do, and there's a lot of young writers in there who I think really appreciate the help.
Okay.
And so I love hearing their stories and their books. And
well, you're a
watching them
teacher.
develop.
I mean, you've been a teacher for a long time too.
Yeah.
So
right. And
so
it's
a natural for you.
It is, and there's a lot of young adult books coming out of there. So and they're terrific. They're really great.
Okay.
So that's one thing. But the other thing is Merrimack Writers, which is a program that we're doing, just launching out of Merrimack Media. And there's two tiers to it. One is you can participate in Merrimack Writers without joining. And you can go to the events, and there's a nominal charge. There's going to be a series of wine readings, not as in whining, but as in whining and dining, but on hopefully on Sunday afternoons. And I hope that you're going to host the first one in January.
Yeah, I'm very pleased that. January, I thought.
Yeah, in January. Yeah, I don't have a place yet though, so
okay.
So I can't say where that is, but if you join our mailing list at Merrimack Writers, at merrimackmedia.com.
All right, well, I was going to ask you, all right, here I am, I got a manuscript that's ready, or it's at least written, it probably needs editing and everything. So how would I contact you, and what would the process be like?
Okay, well, we can get back to that later. But, okay, so the website for the business is Merrimack Media, that's MERRIMACK media.com, and it's a pretty robust website. There's lots of places to sign up.
Nice video there, too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, well, this one will be there soon. So.
Yeah. Great.
Well, anyway, just, an inquiry starts the process. I'll sit down with people or talk to them on the phone, find out what their book is about, what stage they're at. Sometimes people want an editor. I always think that even if you don't want an editor, it's good to give it a good copy edit.
And your editor is the woman we just discussed.
Right. I have a few other editors, too.
Oh, cool.
One, his name is John Hartman. He actually lives in New Haven. So he's
Is
very
it
good.
connected to Yale, or?
No.
Okay.
No. But he has a PhD in English, so.
It always helps.
Yeah, right. So he's good.
Yeah.
And I have a good copy editor.
Okay.
And, so it depends what you need. So then, we talk about your cover, talk about, photos, whatever you want. I write a proposal. So you know exactly what you're getting.
And how about all right, you need to get out there, different venues, readings, and things like that. How would you, for instance, a good friend of mine, Timothy Gager at the Other Blue Gallery, has the Dyer Reader series. Are you familiar with the Dyer series?
Oh, no.
Not Dyer Reader. He's got rid of that name because it sounds like.
It sounds like diarrhea. Right?
Yeah, it sounds like diarrhea. It's a Dyer series, and he's had major writers to local writers, and it's like the third Friday. It's been going on for over a decade.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, you have to check it out. Tim Gager. You can find him on timothygager.com. You can find out, just say you're a friend of Doug's, because
Okay.
I used to run the Somerville News Writers Festival with him for 8 years.
Okay.
But, I mean, how would you go about getting readings? I know there's a woman there who does some sort of...
Well, we have a couple things coming up. Actually, we just scheduled something at Porter Square Books on
Good for you.
January 24th, and we're having Al Gowan, which he just put together this book, Shared Vision, the Second American Bauhaus. He's a professor at Mass Art, and it's a really, really cool book. And he's going to be talking about that, and
this is the lifeblood for academics. They got to get published, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, this is really good for them.
Right.
Are you academics out there having trouble finding a publisher?
Right.
Right.
And Tom Marshall will be there, and also Russ Bubas, who is a local private eye, who has a really funny book of true stories.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them happened in Boston, and he's a great reader. He'll be,
right.
you know, entertaining people, I'm sure.
Right. You know, I love the oral, you know, hear stories, you know, interesting stories. There's something called on PBS called The Moth Hour, where people get up and read, you know, interesting stories from their lives. And they've had detectives on. They're always very fascinating people. Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah, his stories are incredible. And, well, we do have this reading series coming up on Sundays where we're going to have writers.
What's that called?
Those are the Wine Sundays.
Wine Sundays.
Yeah, right. And then we have some other events too. Starting in January, we'll be continuing our beer and books at Atwood Tavern on the second Tuesday of every month.
That's in Kendall Square, right?
That's in East Cambridge on Cambridge Street.
Okay.
And really cute place.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
fun. And we're having a presentation on January 23rd at the Cambridge Innovation Center on Blog to Books. We're working with a startup called Sharist and putting together a package where people can blog and turn it into
a book?
A Mobi file to go on Kindle.
Oh.
And then we will take it and turn it into a paperback, sort of what Ian Smith did.
I love that idea. I'm a big blogger, as you know. So, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And you could be cranking out books
left and right.
left and right.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Right.
Right. It's an idea.
Yeah. No, it's a really cool thing,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't be expensive.
Well, you know what's close to my heart, of course, is what? You know what?
Poetry, of course.
Are you doing any poets?
I would love to do poets. I have not done any.
There are a lot of unpublished poets out there.
Come
and
see
you,
me.
and you can. I mean, a lot of poets just want chapbooks,
Right.
which are much less expensive. Would you be willing to do that?
Oh,
Chapbook?
sure. In fact, you know, you can do little teeny books.
Oh, that's a beautiful book. Let me see that. The Color of Trout Water is beautiful. Any poet would be proud to have a book like that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, all right, you just haven't had any poets approach you yet.
Right.
But perhaps we'll change that on poet to poet, writer to writer.
Right. I would love to do poetry books.
Okay.
And actually, the place where I have the books produced just changed their color pricing so that I'm able to do color interior books for not too much more than black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, if someone wanted to do color illustrations with their poetry, it would be a beautiful book.
Okay. And do you think, you know, for instance, your book's going to be POD too, or no?
Oh, they're all POD.
So did you know, is POD still have a bad name? I've gotten a lot of garbage about it.
Oh, it's fantastic. Are you kidding?
No, but you know, there's talk about the quality and all this stuff.
Oh, well, that's true. This book, okay, this is Ian's book. Okay, this is the last book I did through Create Space. And this is, you know, it's not bad quality. It's not, it looks like it's not bad. But if you look at the books I'm doing now.
That's not POD.
These are all POD.
Oh, they're all POD.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I mean, these authors are probably going to order 100 copies or so, you know, just because I want to have them. But they don't have to. They could order one copy.
Right, and every time it's bought online, do they get a commission?
Yes,
yeah,
they
that's
do.
That's how we have
They
it.
do.
Yeah. So that's very good. And, you know, so they basically, it's a great deal. I was going to ask you, are you, now you know, this isn't a vanity press. Definitely not a vanity press, no. You're selective about people.
I am selective about people.
So if I came in about my cat Fluffy, and I wanted to do a biography of my cat Fluffy, and I would, you know.
Okay, well, what I tell people,
Yeah.
I've looked at some manuscripts that weren't quite ready.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, you know, want to make a judgment and say, you know, I'm not going to, you know, label them, but they weren't quite ready to be published, and so I suggested.
No, but if you said, well, look, I'm putting you the money out here, you know, no, you wouldn't do it.
No, and I told the author, you know, you really need to work with it.
Because you have a reputation, right?
That's right, and I said, you need to work with an editor, and, you know, in this one, actually, this is funny, this one case, you know, the woman said, well, no thank you, and she went somewhere else, and he published her book, and I was at a book festival, and I saw her book there, and and I said, so you published it, and he goes, yeah.
Yeah, well, all right. So at least you have integrity, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Miss integrity.
Right.
All right, well, I want you to tell us the story of some of your recent, I know you already did a few, and also about your, you know, maybe talk a bit about your staff. We discussed one person, I mean, actually we discussed a few. But, you know, give me the stories behind these books, some of the backstories, people will be interested. Because you know, we're any first-time authors, for instance, and that's always a thrill to have your first book published, like birthing a baby, you know.
Right. Actually, Tom Marshall is he's up. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a Boston.
Push it up closer. Yeah. Well, anyway.
I can't tell where the camera is.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Okay. There. Okay.
Right.
There. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, he's a Boston native, and he wrote this book about a runaway slave during the Civil War, and it's a really engaging book. It's his first book, and he wrote it when he was in bed with cancer.
Oh, he's no longer with us?
No, he is.
Oh.
He is. He's okay.
Oh.
And what a triumph to come up with a book. And I mean, I think.
Did he do a lot of research for it?
Yeah, he did do some, and he did. He's very interested in history, and so that's
good.
Yeah.
And he's local.
He is. He is. And this is a book that's really fun. Old Tales of the Maine Woods. Okay, so I'll push that closer. Is that right? Where's the camera?
This is delayed.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay.
We could see a little better. Yeah.
All right. This is by Steve Pinkham, and Steve Pinkham lives in Quincy, and he grew up in Maine, and he loves Maine. So he's an expert on it. He's also a historian.
I've heard of him. Why?
Pinkham Notch.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Different. No. So, but he wrote his first book, The Mountains of Maine, through Down East. Then he compiled about 100 stories of out of copyright hunting and fishing stories from Maine, and he's the poster boy for self-publishing. I mean, this man has spreadsheets of all the places that he wants to go to sell his books. And last summer, he was up in Maine going to campsites and contra dances and bookstores, and he was calling me up.
So he sold a lot of books?
He was selling a ton of books.
Yeah.
And I did the Boston Book Festival last week, and I invited the authors that I'm representing to come, and he was there, and he sold a bunch of books there. People just want this book. So he's just doing
What does he do for a living, you say?
Well, right now he's doing this.
He's making a living at that.
Yes, he is.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a dream. I mean, just, you know, if you break even in most places, you know, you're happy, but.
Well, you know, I think he looked at it as an investment in himself. He put the money into doing this. He had me build a really nice website for him. Do I have any? Yeah.
How important is it for an author to have a good website?
Well, you need a place for people to go buy your book. You need a place for people to find you. I don't know that an author needs a whole website, but it's a luxury if you can do it. More important,
you can form a blog, I guess.
I was just going to say that more important than a website is a blog, because what you do with a blog is you get people to come to your site because of the tags that you, population that reads real books.
Well, we're out of time. Thank you very much.
Oh, that was
It
fast.
was a pleasure having you.